So Carmen, you can see me, correct?
I can.
Okay, so this is our first time doing this too. So the only thing I was wondering is if I can figure out how to mirror the screen, but you can, because you can only see my screen, right? Like you can see me and what's behind me.
Correct.
So it's backwards to you.
I can read the screen. How ChatGPT? I mean, I can read that. It's not
But it's
backwards.
It's not backwards?
No.
Perfect. Okay. So perfect. All right. Well, everyone in the world today is running late. I don't know where Mercury is. I don't know where anyone is. So just hang tight with us, but we're recording and then this will be available in community afterwards. So it'll auto upload, which is really nice. And then if you want, you can do like watch only, or you can mute, but still like raise your hand and stuff if you want. Totally up to you. You're our guinea pig. So thank you for attending virtually today so that I can get some practice with this.
I'm really glad to have this option.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to be great. Good morning. And I love being able to share it afterwards as well.
Okay. I'm going to turn off my camera. So
Perfect.
See you later.
Okay.
Feels like a Monday morning.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
There she is.
And I don't know what yesterday was.
Okay, I got community going. We got Sammy going.
The remote came unvelcroed from whoever it was.
And I'm not sure, but I think we're missing a bunch of people. Do you have a pen? I'm just gonna.
Oh, I do.
I have one too. I was just gonna pass that around since I was getting set up when you guys were walking in. And then Mercury will get some name tags put out for everyone.
And Tiffany, if I send you this Canva link, you can share it with everybody, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put it in the resources in the community tab.
I put all the prompts that I'm gonna show in here, so you don't have to.
I did it on the top one.
Oh, it's
all
okay.
down. You can just like copy it.
It's hard time following directions.
It happens.
I put it on the title bar.
I used to live in Excelsior and I forgot how loud the frogs are.
Oh, yeah. I found one in my
Oh man, I was like, that's a familiar sound. Like, we used to have ponds in our backyard.
I've never heard that one.
That's new.
It's a
I'm in Chaska now. And
sign
you
of
don't
spring.
hear them.
You've got frogs in Chaska.
We don't have like, we let up right behind the high school, like there's no water, so like we just don't hear any of that anymore. So I pulled in the parking lot and I was like, does my car make
We
funny noise?
we
Oh,
back up to the, and so we are, we are constantly outside on the screen porch
yeah, they're
in the
loud.
evening, and it's just the most magnificent.
Yeah,
The sounds from the mark is incredible.
you forget when you,
Yeah,
and it's only been.
when you go away. And
So want me to get started?
No, we'll get the sign up finished if you want to sign in and pass that around. I know one of these people said they were going to attend the session online instead of in person. And then one's kind of a wild card. Two are kind of wild cards. And then there's two others. So we'll get started as soon as everybody is signed in. That way they can pay attention to you.
Well, while we wait, it would be awesome if I could hear a little bit about just quickly what everybody does, so we can maybe sort of have a conversation that way.
I'm in fundraising
Okay.
with the Alzheimer's Association. So maybe writing, engaging quick social media comments, or helping writing my
You'll
messaging.
get that, but
Yeah. Oh.
there's other stuff in here that I think you'll find more
Awesome.
I'm a Libra health coaching. I'm a board certified health coach. So most of my business is online.
Okay, great.
Virtually. So, and I use Claude AI.
Yep.
So it's probably very similar. Maybe ChatGPT is probably even more. Who knows? But I'd like to I'm always trying to learn like
Think
better
just
ways
Jenny.
to communicate.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Oh, is that yours?
Yeah,
We won't steal it.
that's all right. I'm Nick Real, and I'm a business coach.
Okay.
Primarily in leadership and strategy. And I use quite a bit for, I'll just say research.
Yep.
And researching different topics. So creating the prompts is a big deal.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, great.
My name is Gibson Shoemaker. I have a residential remodeling company called Level Design Remodel. And I'm dabbling with it now a little bit. And I guess before I even get too deep, like I'm also curious, like, is there a difference between the paid version versus not paid and things like that? So
Yeah. I'm not covering that, but remind me, we
Sure.
can chat about that
Okay.
afterwards, just real briefly. Because everything that I'm gonna show you today is in the free version, just so that
Okay.
if you're getting started or trying to play with it, it's not gonna be a barrier. Yeah, but while we kind of, do you want me to start?
Yeah, you can get started for sure.
I just kind of wanted to throw this slide out there first before I introduce myself, just because, like, I think the way that we use AI in general and ChatGPT is a lot more like content creation or kind of creating things that are forward or outward focused, customer focused. But really, ChatGPT can really be, or any AI tool can really be great for you to help you just build your systems. Like, I assume we're all kind of in small teams, small companies, and we don't have HR professionals, we don't have marketing consultants, we don't have financial advisors or legal teams necessarily. And so ChatGPT can be that place to kind of help you just get started in understanding what you don't know or what types of things you might want to include or where do you want to go with certain things. So I just kind of threw this whole thing together. So for example, I was talking to one gal a week ago and she was like, yeah, she's like, I just moved. I have a room in my house that I can't get to that I just don't want to unpack. And it's got 8 boxes in it. And so I literally went to ChatGPT and I said, come up with a plan for me. I have this one room I need to unpack. It's got 8 boxes. I want to get it done in the next 3 days. What is my task list in order to get this done? And can you create a playlist to help keep me motivated while I do it? And so it's really like whatever you can come up with, it can kind of start the ball rolling. Doesn't mean it's going to do everything for you, but it can at least start the ball rolling. So you kind of lose that blinking cursor feeling where you're like, I just don't know where to start with this project, right? So these are just kind of a few things that I threw out there that we can kind of think about. We're going to go through a few examples today. So we're going to try to get through as much as possible, but I have a lot of examples, so I'll try to kind of go through the ones that I think are going to be most important. Sounds like you guys are all familiar with what ChatGPT is, so we'll kind of maybe skip over that. But there's 2 things that we really want to make sure we have in order to make it function the best for us, and that is our brand voice and who our customer is that we're talking to. That's going to help you get the best results out of what you put into it, the prompts. And so we're going to talk about some of the ways that you can save all of that in ChatGPT. Different platforms might be a little bit different in how they kind of save that information. We're going to talk through those 2 things, and then we're going to go through a bunch of different examples for how we can use it as a tool in our business. First, my name is Sammy. I'm a digital marketing strategist. I largely work with nonprofit organizations, but I do work with a lot of small to medium-sized businesses. Specifically on website design and development, content creation, and email marketing. Our goal is to help businesses raise more money online. So it sounds like a lot of you are kind of in that same boat, which is great. I'm also the host of the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. I've got 2 kiddos in the Minnetonka School District. We live in Chaska, and just excited to be here and kind of supporting the Excelsior Chamber here with this Power Up. We're going to skip over this because it doesn't matter where we're at. You guys are good. I want to get to the examples. And so, like I mentioned, I have this slide deck that has all of the different prompts in it. So I will get it to Tiffany so that we can upload it. So you don't need to kind of write all this stuff down. You can kind of see what we've done here. But I'm going to go straight into the prompts that I created. And I went ahead and just did all of these already. Mostly because my keyboard's broken and it likes to double type letters, and so it would take us forever to get through them, but also just so you can kind of see the full examples of what we're doing. And so there's 2 things that I really want you to think about when you're looking at ChatGPT. And one is you don't have to have the prompt. You can literally just ask it the question. So if our first goal here is we really want to make sure we know our brand voice so that we're training the AI to speak like us, you don't have to have the whole thing put together. You can simply say, can you help me create my brand voice? And it's going to give you the direction. It's going to tell you what to do. So and that works for whatever kind of thing. If it's like, hey, I'm trying to figure out a social media strategy, where should I start? Or I need to know how to build a sales deck, like what information would I need in order to build a pitch deck or something like that, right? So it literally is going to tell you, and then all you have to do is like what I do is just go, okay, number one, here's my answer. Number two, here's my answer. Number three. Yeah.
Sandy, how does it know who you are if you don't sign in, or do you need to sign?
Well, so what we're doing, so I am logged into a free version.
Yeah.
And what we're doing here is teaching it who we are. So what we're saying is, so you're saying like, I'm trying to figure out what a brand voice is so that I can train you in how to talk like me. So if you don't know what goes into creating a brand voice, it's going to give you all these questions and now you're going to go through them. So you see it's asking like, what's your name? What are the products you offer? Who's your target audience? What are your brand values or mission? So you can go through and fill all those in, and that's what's teaching it who you are. And if you don't know what some of these things are, so let's say you're like, okay, well, I don't know what my brand values or mission are. You can literally say, hey, will you help me create my brand values and mission? So you can kind of work through it in a conversational way to help it develop who you are and how you communicate that to your audience. So think about it as a way that it's like your best friend consultant that's helping you walk through the steps so that you don't have to just like inherently know everything all at once.
Well, there's your first step to like download the app or something, or you just Google ChatGPT.
Yeah, if you just Google ChatGPT,
Okay.
It'll open up and you can create a free login.
All right.
Okay, but for me, just to show you kind of an example, I said, I'm a digital marketing strategist that works with small to medium-sized nonprofit organizations to help them raise more money online. I like to help them take the stress out of digital marketing and their website. I call myself, this is a typo, their digital marketing, should say therapist. I like to come across as approachable and smart, but not overwhelming. Can you help me determine my brand voice? So I gave it a little bit more guidance, and now it's giving me my brand voice. So I can read through this and it's gonna give me tone, it's gonna give me personality, it's gonna give me language to use, sample tagline options. And then the thing that's great is it's gonna say, well, what's next? Would you like help applying this to your website copy? Like it's gonna guide you into the next steps and things that maybe you didn't even know were things that you should do next. So it's gonna guide you and you can go back and forth and have conversations. And I said, yeah, I would love a brand story that I can use. And also, could you save this for future content you create for me? So that's key to tell it those things. So to your point, Nick, how does it know who I am? Well, I've gone through this exercise with it now. I feel good about the brand voice that it set for me. And now I'm telling it to save it. This is how I want you to talk in the future. And it's going to use that in all of the content that it creates for me moving forward.
But I still haven't, sorry, I asked a lot of questions. I still don't know, how does it know it is I when I log in?
How does it?
If I don't sign in, if I don't sign.
Oh, if you don't sign in, it doesn't know. So this is a free account that I just created. So you would log into your account.
Okay.
So you have to
Thank you.
download it,
So
sign up.
you do sign in,
Yes.
and then you log into that account when
Yes.
you go back in.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I need.
And it should save it. I don't even normally log in. It's normally like when I click the login button, it's just.
Well, then it goes, yeah.
Okay, so I have my brand version, but you can see now that it's still asking me want a version for your about page or for social media, yada, yada, yada. I can leave this here so you can see like I did this at least more than 7 days ago. All of your stuff will save. So if I'm not ready to do this other stuff, if I'm not ready to work on my about page, I just wanted to get my brand voice done, that's cool. I can come back to this chat at any time and continue the conversation based off of what's happening here. Okay? So the second thing we want to make sure that we have is our ideal customer. And so same thing, you can say, hey, help me craft my ideal customer. You can just ask the question, it'll give you a bunch of questions. You can feed it, go back and forth. But for me, I put this prompt in so we can kind of walk through that process. And you'll see that ChatGPT is very friendly. They always validate. Awesome, absolutely, that sounds great. You're doing, that's a great idea. And it is true that ChatGPT also likes to be spoken to nicely. So the more kind you are to AI, the better results you get. I don't know why, but that is something that I've heard from multiple experts. So just keep that in mind. It likes kindness. But absolutely, it's going to help me with that. So it came up with this customer avatar for me based off what I said called Stressed Out Sarah, who is the nonprofit communications director. It's going to give me all of her demographics. So this took me seconds to make versus having to go out traditionally and do all the interviews and have all of the conversations, yada, yada, yada. It's going to give me her goals and motivations, her frustrations, what they need, who they are, and also like where you might find them. And again, you can dive deeper into any of these. You can ask more specific questions, you can flesh them out. But it's going to say, do you want a one-pager or do you want multiple versions? Because we all have multiple customers in our business. So see, I was trying to be nice. I said, you nailed this. Like, this is great. We're on the right track. However, I also have a membership. So I have one-on-one consulting and I have a membership. They're two completely different customers. So could you create another avatar for that other client base? So, yep. So now I've got strategic Sarah and I've got DIY Dana. And her motivations are different. We see her age is skewed a little bit lower. Her experience is a little bit lower. And this is important because now as I go through all my prompts and my content creation, I can literally say, hey, I want to craft this blog post for DIY Dana. And it's going to make sure the language is in my brand voice, but specifically for that audience. Or I can say I'm working on a promo plan, but it's geared towards Stressed Out Sarah. It knows who these people are and can kind of craft the language accordingly. So you can have multiple different avatars. And I added some additional questions, some feedback, they updated it. And then again, here I said, could you save them for future reference and content that you create for me? And you'll see as we go through some of these other prompts, it will reference these avatars in the plans and the content and in the, okay, well, in the strategies, are we thinking about this person or are we thinking about this person? And then I asked it to create a branded PDF for me. Why do we want branded PDFs? I love having my avatars present in front of me. So when I'm working or writing an email, or if I'm doing something on my own, like the team knows this is who we're talking to. It's so much easier to talk to a person than to talk to like the whole world and say, okay, well, I'm trying to find like all these people. Instead, I'm writing specifically to Stressed Out Sarah because I know what she cares about, know what she's engaged in. And so I like to have these up at my office or wherever. So it literally creates a graphic for me. I didn't want illustrations. I wanted more of an image. So I asked it to do that. So then it recreated this. So those are kind of all of the ways that we want to create those two foundational pieces. I went through that really fast. Are there any questions about those or the importance for why we want them?
So an avatar is
An ideal customer.
an ideal customer.
Yeah. If all of your customers were the best customer you've ever had, that's who they are. Okay, and again, you can come back here and have more conversation with it, flesh things out, ask it questions.
That's actually really interesting. So then you're able to target who you're trying to reach. It gave you examples of where you could
Where you
find
them. Mm-hmm. And you could go back in here later, like let's say you're doing a membership drive, you could come back in and say, hey, I want to target Stressed Out Sarah because we want to do a membership drive for nonprofits. And so what would be good language to use to talk to them about that, or how would I want to find them, or, you know.
So would it also give you options of like, this is the best places to market, these things to reach that potential customer?
Yeah, because like, for example, with Strategic Sarah, I think it said where they hang out, and it was like they're listening to these podcasts. They're probably in these nonprofit membership organizations, like AFP, they're probably already in other memberships that teach this but aren't nonprofit specific. So you might want to like target those. So it will give you those specific things. And then you can ask it to create a strategic plan. Hey, I want to reach out to nonprofits that are listening to podcasts, which podcast should I be a guest on?
Mm-hmm.
And it'll give you that list, and then you can, well, what topic should I make sure that I'm pitching in order to be on those podcasts that are going to convert people to what I offer? So you can completely go down that rabbit hole.
Wow.
Okay, so let's get through to some specific examples for how you might use this in your business. And I'm doing this similar speech at a chamber conference in a couple weeks, and their theme is Friends. So that's why this example is Friends themed, the TV show. So just go on the story with me. But when it comes to communication with our teams or with like a board or with a group of volunteers, we all have different communication styles. We all pick up on things differently. We all want to be talked to differently in order to be motivated to complete the thing we want them to do. This could be with, if you have like a cohort of clients that you're working with and they have things that they're supposed to do, right? We all have clients or customers where we tell them the thing, they say, oh yeah, that's great. They don't do the thing, they don't get the results, and then they're upset, right? So communication styles are very different. So I used a board example. So I just said I have a fundraising event coming up and I need my board to do the following steps. Buy their own ticket, invite at least 10 people to attend, and share the event on social media. Can you create an email that will encourage them to do this? Okay, so it's going to create the email for me. You can see that here, very specific. They say in the title, here's a warm, motivating email. So pay attention to those things. It's clear, respectful of their time, and encourages action without being pushy. If any of that is not how you wanted to convey the email, then you could, kind of go back and forth and really massage the email. But it's going to tell you all these things, and you'll see it has all these placeholders for where you need to put stuff. If I put all of that information in the prompt, I could come back and say, okay, well, here's the ticket link, here's the event link, here's all that. It will then automatically populate that for you. But I said, okay, well, I'd like several versions. Can you rewrite it as if you were writing to each of the main cast members of Friends? So you could do that, like, let's say, like I know Tiffany has people to do first, like strike finders, right? So you know what they're, so you could say, I want to repurpose this email for this type and this type and this type and this type, and it will automatically do that for you based off of their personality. You can do Enneagram, whatever. So if you know that, you could do that. But I love it because it gives me Rachel Green. But it doesn't just say Rachel Green. It's considering her as glamorous, social, cares about causes, but might need a little nudge. And then it rewrites the email, right, for her. Now, this one's a little cheesy because it definitely pulls in language from Friends. Do we have Friends fans in here? But you'll see that it's rewritten and a little bit different each time. So like for Ross, it's like the motivation of your participation in the event really sets the tone. Like, we need you there. You care about our mission. Monica has like the check mark emojis because she's very detail oriented and task oriented. Joey is motivated by food. So you see they have the pizza emoji, like there's food involved. So it's just like little tweaks that will help. Kind of like Phoebe's has a lot of fluffy emojis and like stars and makes you happy. So it's a quick way to like really create your communication in a way that you can hyper personalize. So you could use this if you have templates for pitches, for bits for projects, right? You could have your core template, but then when you're working with the client, you could very specifically say, okay, well, this client is this way, likes to be talked to this way. Could you reformat it? And you don't have to think about it. And then I said, well, it asked if I needed a PDF, and I said no, but you also might have people that like to be communicated with in different ways, maybe email, maybe text, maybe a phone call. So then I asked it to recreate it in text messages so that I can text them, the ones that want to be communicated with text. But you can also say, could you write me a phone script so that then you have bullets that you could share with people if they're making calls on your behalf. Like, here's the phone script that you would use also to talk about this. Any questions about that? And I think once you start repurposing your communication, you'll find so many different ways that you'll be like, oh my gosh, I can use it to do this. I can use it for this.
I guess I have a question.
Yeah.
So you know how it has the space to insert name?
Yeah.
Is there a way that you can download a spreadsheet and it can make all the separate emails for you?
I'm sure you could. I've never done that, but I'm sure you could. because you can upload files. Yeah. Yeah. But you could also take this, copy it into a Word doc, and do a mail merge from a spreadsheet also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is like a promotional thing. I'm gonna skip, we'll come back to that one. This is the promotional one. So, the goal for this was, I have an online membership, I wanna target DIY Dana, and I wanna do a promotion to try to get more of those types of people into my online program. You could do this for like, I wanna get more people into my store, or I want to do a membership drive, or I wanna get more people to attend my event, whatever it is, like any type of promotion. It doesn't have, this is just a digital version. But I literally, all I said was, I'm gearing up for the holidays, wanna run a promotion that will target DIY Dana. This should be themed Christmas in July, and encourage her to register for our membership. What ideas do you have? So, ChatGPT gives me some positive reinforcement there, tells me that since she's your self-starter who thrives with guidance and community, this promo should spark a mix of excitement, FOMO, and practical value. Here are some ideas. So now it gives me all of these different ideas with specific bullets and things to think about, marketing hooks, all of that. So I can go back and forth and say, okay, I really love number 3, but I would like to do this, or this doesn't quite hit the mark. Right now you have the ideas, and you can start to have the conversation. You didn't have to come up with those ideas by yourself. And when you see some of these things, you're like, oh, that's a great idea, but maybe I want to talk about this, or I want to do that. So I asked, because when I was reading this, one of my questions is always, well, would she prefer a discount or a free month? Like, what kind of motivation? So brainstorming the motivation behind our people. So going back to the market research piece, what are they going to care about versus what do I care about? Because I don't know how large all of your teams are, but I am sitting in my office by myself most of the time, thinking my ideas are brilliant, but that doesn't mean that people care about them. So I love this as a way to kind of go back and forth and kind of figure out like what's what. So I get feedback on both sides about free months of discounts and a recommendation, as well as freebies that she'll love and things of that nature. And again, another recommendation, bundle a few of these for a starter kit, and then want me to draft a rough outline for the promo funnel, or start designing one of those freebies as a branded PDF. So ChatGPT will literally create PDFs for you if you want them to, with graphics, and it's a little bit wonky sometimes, and right now they seem to be going through an update, and so some of their things are a little bit off, so just take all of that with a grain of salt. But
it mentioned a Canva design.
That's one of the things that's really wonky right now, so sometimes it will do a great job, and sometimes it doesn't even, it just sends you nowhere. So
how would it, if you want it, you would just ask it, can you create a Canva design focusing on 1 month free?
Yep.
And then does it appear in this same
so
platform?
just like you saw, well,
Or do you have to go to Canva?
it
depends.
like I said, sometimes it plays nice, sometimes it doesn't. There is a Canva GPT, and I'll show you some of that stuff later, but just it's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you could spend your time going round and round and round trying to get it to do that, and then it sends you to a dead link. So just know that the content side of it is much better than the graphic side, but the graphic side is getting much better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here it's literally going to give me a whole funnel. So it tells me all the stages, what like social media post template here, email swipe copy, year-end planning, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to go through this whole thing. I'm going to get my whole promotional plan. Great. So I said, well, can you add dates in the plan, assuming that the event would end on July 15th? So now I have it with dates. So I know exactly when to do all of these things. They're all here. It's going to ask me what I want. And I said, well, yeah, I'd love to have this as a Google Sheet. So now it created, this one did work, I think, but it created a Google Sheet for me that had all of this information and all of this stuff put into it. So I could just go from there. But then from here, what I can do is say, okay, well, I want you to write the emails. I want you to write the social media copy. I want you to create the graphics, or I could upload graphics if I already have them created and say, here's what it is. So now you take this and you continue to work it until you are already done with the whole promotional plan. And now it's done and written for you. You can copy paste it wherever you need to. I have somebody that I know that does a lot of text message marketing through a platform called Project Broadcast. And she will have it write all of her text messages for a promotional plan and then say, can you download this in a format that I can just upload to Project Broadcast? And it will. And then she gets the text file and it just goes in and then everything's populated inside that platform. So don't be afraid to ask it. It knows that I use ClickUp. So it will say, do you want this in ClickUp or do you want this in a Google Sheet? And so it will download it in a format most of the time that I can upload. Any questions about promos? Is this helpful? Whenever I talk about this, I always get like blank stares, and so I don't know if I'm talking too fast or if everybody just processes.
I think we're taking it all. It's like drinking from a fire hose.
It
gotta
is, and you're
practice.
going fast, you're going super fast, but
Well, I want to get through a bunch of different
Yeah.
types of examples because at the end of the day, it's a muscle. The more that you use it, play with it, practice, and think about it in all of the different areas of your business, then the more that you're going to get comfortable with it, and you'll just be second nature. Like it'll just be a tab on your browser that you're just like, oh, hey, well, I was thinking about that. Oh, you just pop it in, and it will know more and more and more and more about you and your business to be able to just like give you better results.
Question, just backing up. You're using ChatGPT. What is the difference between Grok or other AI?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know all of the different platforms because there's so many. I actually don't use ChatGPT all the time for my business because I have like a podcast specific AI tool that I use.
Okay.
Like, so there's a bunch of different ones. The concept is the same.
But okay.
It's how it saves your information might be a little bit different, but you can always, the beauty of it is always just ask it what it needs to help you and it will tell you.
It'll prompt you.
Correct. Yep. So I'm not an expert in all of them. I know a lot of people have their favorites. This is just the most robust and well-known one, so that's okay. Is anybody hiring or looking to hire? No? Okay, then we'll skip that one. One of the things that I love is email marketing. I think it's the most powerful platform or way to connect with customers. It's got the highest ROI. So if you're in the digital marketing space, email marketing is the number one thing that I believe you should be doing. So I wanted to talk through this example because the welcome sequence is a really powerful tool. So when somebody gives you a donation, they get an automatic welcome sequence. When somebody's a first-time customer, an onboarding system for customers that sign on the dotted line to be a client, and now you just want to send them all of the information, right? So a welcome sequence is going to have your number one open rate, your highest open rate of anything that you do. It's something that's definitely really impactful. Can be overwhelming to write. So it's usually 3 to 5 emails over a period of a couple of weeks, getting people to dive deeper into your organization. So I said, I want to create an email sequence that new members get when they join. It should share a bit about myself and partner in crime, Patrick Kirby, and let them know all of the resources available to them inside the platform. Now, I didn't say anything about Do Good University, which is our platform, but I've talked about it already in ChatGPT. So you'll see here, the subject line, welcome to Do Good University. So you can see it's already starting to learn, because I started a new account for the purposes of this presentation. It's already starting to learn who I am, what I do. I don't even have to tell it. It knows, right? So now it's going to give me all of the different things. It's going to send me the purpose. I love that it tells me the purpose because then as you're going through the bullet points and the prompts, you can kind of go back to your own thought process and say, okay, well, maybe this is a little off, or this is great. I would have never thought about it this way. Because no matter what AI tool you're using, we don't copy paste out of here and publish. We always want to make sure we're putting our eyeballs on it. We're making sure it's in our voice. We're making sure it's accurate and correct. So it's going to give you the emails, the subject lines, and the bullet points. So you can go through and say, hey, email 4 is great, but I want to make sure that we're changing kind of this bullet point here or something. So you can massage all the bullet points and then ask it to literally write the emails, download it in a format that works with whatever email software you're using, and away you go.
what is CTA?
Call to action. So that would be like for you, like donate, check out our volunteer opportunities, come to an event, whatever that might be. For those of you in the online space, you would do the same thing if you had a lead magnet or a freebie on your website. So people get some sort of value, they get on your email list. This would be an automated sequence. It could help you literally write the lead magnet as well as write that automatic welcome sequence. Any questions about that? It can also help you write all of your emails in general.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I like literally somebody was like, just download it. And I literally, I can't remember. I think we were trying to fire somebody. And I was like, I just can't do, and I was like, put it in there and it was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But, okay, so you're saying, and the more you log in, because I don't go in there a lot, you're saying it knows who you are, like it'll start learning characteristics.
Who you are and
of
what you do.
Is what you're saying all the time.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
And I know that when you have an email you write, I've done this recently where I told it, okay, now give me a 1-minute script so I can do an Instagram reel.
Correct.
On the same content.
Correct.
And you can tell it to be humorous or serious or make fun, like kind of I did humorous of like the issues my clients have and to get their attention and kind of just, it's like I don't know, you can just do one thing and then make multiple off of that.
And we'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely get there. And I would also because we all attach different things to different words. So like humorous might mean something different to you than silly, than sarcastic, whatever. So a lot of times what I'll do is if I have a really good piece of content that I love, that did really well, I'll put that into ChatGPT and say, hey, this is an email or a social media post or something that did really well. How would you characterize the voice of this content? And ask it so that you know when you're prompting it with some of those words, you're speaking in the same language, right? And then the other thing that I'll do in that regard is if you go back and forth on like social media posts or whatever you land on, I'll sometimes go back in and say, okay, this is the content that I landed on because you've gone back and edited it and cleaned it up or like changed some words. This is where I landed. Keep this in mind for future reference. So feeding back into it what you ended up with, so it's not just based off of the results that it gives you, but it's actually where you ended up going with that, whatever piece of content that is. Okay, so let's talk through, I just want to make sure we don't run out of time, but let's talk through exactly what you said. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. But I love using AI to create my whole content repurposing plan. And so I created this graphic here. But this is literally like, I'll take one podcast episode and turn it into 24 pieces of content that I share out through email, that I share out through video, social media, Pinterest, all of the things. So what you can do is use ChatGPT to create that checklist for you one time. And then every time you create a new piece of content, whether that's a podcast episode, a YouTube video, a blog post, it knows all of the content that it needs to automatically generate for you. You might need to use other tools to help you create that, like create the graphics or whatnot. Ideally, in like the next, I would even say a couple weeks, the link to Canva will be much better, and it should automatically create those posts for you in an editable format. Because there's a new version of ChatGPT that just came out that is much more robust in the paid version with regards to that.
At what point do you need to credit AI with content?
You don't, but you should always fact check the content that it gives you if you're publishing it, and you should always make sure that you're updating it and editing it to make sure that it's accurate and correct for what it is that you're talking about. I don't use it personally to write from scratch. For me, I'll use it to brainstorm ideas, but like because I'm putting in a podcast episode, it's my words, my content, it's repurposing something that I've already created, so I don't need to credit it for anything.
Well, you definitely don't want to be associated with like,
Right.
you like write a letter and you're like, sponsored by ChatGPT.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You don't
I
technically
wouldn't
have
want to be associated.
But it will, like when you're in here, if it's pulling in a source, it'll have a little button that says source and you can click on it. So if it's mentioning or referencing somebody else's content, then I would make sure that you hyperlink that source in your content you're publishing, but you don't need to credit AI. So here's kind of what this looks like. And I want to mention this too. So I just said I want to create a plan for repurposing my podcast in as many ways as possible. It should include, and then I put all of the areas where I play. So I'm thinking an email newsletter, LinkedIn newsletter, 3 different types of social media posts, and at least 3 short form videos. So now it's giving me kind of the plan, and it's giving me the days when those should be posted. It's giving me my audience. So if you have multiple audiences, it'll tell you which ones are going to be there. It's going to tell me exactly what should be in that content. So it's going to give me all of that, right? And it's going to tell me like what type of, so for Instagram, right? Like it's going to say, okay, a carousel or a single post, a text post with a graphic with caption. It's going to give me some examples. So this is just like a generic thing. It's going to give me a workflow, which I can turn into whatever project management tool you're using. Now I can just have that there, repurpose all of that content. See, it's telling me, do you want it as a checklist, a ClickUp template, or a Google Sheet? I said, can you take my most recent podcast and create the content for it? Now, this is where things get crazy because I did not say my podcast name in here. I've mentioned it in other places, and I didn't give it a link to my most recent podcast, and it knows. So here it is. Absolutely, let's repurpose your latest podcast. That was my latest podcast when I had done this thing. And you'll see here this little button here, Apple Podcast. So I can click on that and it's going to take me to that podcast episode. So the same thing would be true if it's writing like a long blog post for me. You'd see a button that looks like that would say source. So now I have everything I need to repurpose this, and I can ask it to actually write. So your question at the very beginning about I want social media strategy and support, like this gives you literally every single thing that you need. And then the other thing that you can do is with short form video, you can say, okay, well, I want to create a reel from this content. Can you give me bullet points of what I should talk about? And it will tell you. Okay, well, then will you tell me exactly how I should record it? And it will literally give you your shot list. Hey, record the B-roll, create this, pull this song into it, have these captions or this word or whatever. So it will literally help you produce your whole video. So all you have to do is go record it or send it off to somebody if they're helping you do it. All that. So now I have 24 pieces of content that I can utilize. That I said, well, yeah, no, wait, I want to add in Pinterest. So now it gave me, is anybody here on Pinterest? You should be. But it literally is going to tell me, like, the hardest part about Pinterest is writing all of like the titles and the description. It will give you all of that. It will even give you your keywords for the episode and things that you want to target in the content that you're creating. So you can use it from like soup to nuts on like everything that you need for your strategy per episode. Now I have this framework. I can ask it to save my plan. And every time I have a new episode, I can say, hey, can you create my content for episode yada, yada, yada. And you can say, I'll test it again and let you know, but you can say, will you create graphics for me? I would say right now it's a little buggy because you can't always edit the text and there's a lot of typos and stuff in it. So I would say for now, your best bet is to create Canva templates that you, like once you have it, write out your social media repurposing strategy, that you would create Canva templates that support that strategy so that when it gives you all the bullets and stuff, all you have to do is just go put in the words, maybe change a photo, and off you go.
Okay.
Any questions about that? Is anybody sitting here thinking 24 pieces of content for one blog post is way too much? No? Yeah, that makes me happy. That's usually where I get people stuck. Okay. I think we only have like 15 minutes. I have a couple examples I didn't share. So I'm going to share one because you mentioned that you asked it to fire someone.
Yeah. I probably should.
No, it's okay.
It's such a hard thing to do.
No, it's
So
hard.
you're like, and how do you do it professionally
Correct.
and like layout,
Correct.
like, and I didn't use that email, but it really helped me, like,
Put it together.
honestly, because I think even the person receiving is like, you know what I mean?
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
So, here, as an example and a positive, is I want to hire a part-time marketing assistant, right? So I need to hire someone part-time to help me with administrative marketing tasks. They should be comfortable with social media, WordPress, Canva, and nonprofits. They will be creating my show notes for my podcast, repurposing that content across all of our communication channels. Can you help me with the job description? So now it's giving me like a full-on job description because those can take forever. And it's going to give all of the things. So now I can go through that and it's going to ask me if I want it for LinkedIn, if I need, like, if there's other things that I want, blah, 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 blah. So just for the purposes of this example, I said, no, I don't need anything else right now, but could you help me also develop specific goals for this person so I can be sure to celebrate their successes? So now it gives me onboarding, short-term goals, long-term goals, and then it even created a Google Sheet for me that has like the whole onboarding process. So now I'm ready to, hire somebody and be able to clearly communicate in the interview process. Here's what we expect out of these people or out of this job over the next 60 to 90 days, right? And I didn't even have to really work that hard to kind of put this together. And this it says you want to generate a downloadable Google Sheet that you can copy and use right away. Sure, yeah, let's do that. Sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't, so just be aware, but you have this that you can at least copy and paste. So this is great for new hires, but also great for board recruitment and onboarding. It's great for client onboarding and recruitment. You can use the same kind of strategy for all of those types of things. Any questions or specific examples or ideas that you might want to brainstorm in our last kind of?
No, you're just saying you can literally use it for anything.
And I just started out using it as a brainstorming partner.
Yeah.
Like something would stew in my head and I'd think about it and I'm like, I just decided, okay, I was very hesitant, to be honest, with AI. I'm like, I'm going to try this out, and just kind of kept having a conversation back and forth. What do you think? What ideas do you have? And then it was like, okay, this is kind of cool because it's getting to know me and then spitting out things. I'm like, that's totally what I was thinking, but I couldn't figure out how to get it out, right?
Right.
And it's such a time saver if you're a solopreneur as well.
Well, I'm a verbal processor, so I need to say things out loud before it makes sense in my head even. And so if you have this has a microphone, so you can literally talk to it. So if typing isn't your thing and you just want to talk, I know people that have the app on their phone and they'll go for walks in the afternoon and literally just be like, okay, hey, I've got this idea, what do you think? And they'll just literally have an audio conversation if they're talking to somebody, brainstorm the whole idea. By the time they get back to their desk, they're like, okay, yep, we're ready to go. Like, let's put this thing in motion. They brainstorm whatever it is that they're working on. So if you're a verbal person, then it has that option as well.
Can I ask another question? So you're talking about the free version. I haven't looked into it. What's the difference between what's the limitations with free versus paid, and what does paid actually cost? You know any of that?
I thank you for bringing that up again. We'll come back to that. I don't know what it costs.
I just walked in. It was $20 a month.
$20 a month, I think so. I don't use the paid version here because I use ClickUp as my project management tool, and it has ChatGPT and Claude and a bunch of other AI tools already built into it that you can utilize. What the limitations of the free version are, like, if it's creating graphics for you, you only get like 2 or 3 revisions before it's like you can come back in 12 hours and work. If you go back and forth on too many things in one particular chat, it'll just say you'll be using a different model until for like the next 2 hours. So it just slows you down. With the full version, some of the things that I know people use it for is you can create custom GPTs. So like internal things. Like, let's say, the example I gave Tiffany the other day was like, let's say you are trying to work on Luck of the Lake, and you can upload into ChatGPT every single piece of information that you have for Luck of the Lake into a custom chat. So that could be like your volunteer process, that could be your sponsorships, your emails, social media posts, whatever. You can upload all of that in there. And then like Mercy could go into that chat and be like, hey, I want to create the 2025 version of Luck of the Lake. Can you like put together the whole timeline for next year or all the graphics or like, so it is closed. So it doesn't pull from outside resources like this does. You could literally just go in and pull information from what you've already uploaded into that specific chat.
You have to tell tell AI to only keep it closed and not to look outside of it.
It's always best to just make sure, but it's like a custom GPT that you go into that you've uploaded all your stuff into, and you can say, I only want information from this GPT.
Okay.
Other than that, it's like just free reign. I know some people have used it for their employee onboarding, so they'll put like all the books that they like people to read and all of their policies and all of their whatever for that company, and then employees can go into that specific GPT to say, okay, what do I do? Where do I go for this? What do I do for that? That kind of stuff.
Question. I've got 20 years of different presentations, different topics and so on. Is there a way to aggregate that? Most of it's in PowerPoint. Is there a way to aggregate that, to upload it somehow and have AI organize it or edit it or pull the summaries from it?
Yeah, so in the free version, you could do that individually. Like you can upload, like if I go into create a new one, if I click on this thing here, right, I'm gonna get this screen, what can I help you with? I can upload whatever files I want and ask it to do that. You could do that individually. If you wanted to be able to pull from, like, let's say you wanted to have all of your presentations and you wanted to be able to just be able to go in and say, okay, in what presentation did I talk about this? Or I want to do a new presentation and I want to have this, and this. That would be like the custom GPT that I was just mentioning. That would be in the paid versions where you could literally create one GPT with all of your presentations uploaded into it that you could kind of search or find and get summaries from in that.
Because over the years, things have changed, evolved,
Correct.
and so on, and it would be nice to be able to
Correct.
get an updated current version
Yeah.
of everything.
I mean, if you're just getting started, I would definitely start with the free version, and then as you kind of reach those limitations, then you can kind of go, it's not expensive.
What were you saying you use that has ChatGPT?
I use ClickUp as my project management software.
ClickUp.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they have an add-on for that, which is called ClickUp Brain, which is their AI, which I
And
love.
what are you using that for? I mean, not to get into a whole other, but
Oh, everything. It is like our task management. It's how we manage all of our projects, like how we know like where we are with the project, what our to-dos are for the day.
it's like your CRM system.
No, it's literally just task management. So
It's a project manager.
yeah, it like connects to our calendar. It connects to like it's Slack. It's
Okay, I'm gonna email myself. I'll look at it or I'll watch the video. What is it? One more time.
ClickUp.
ClickUp.
ClickUp. It's one word.
Thank you.
And again, it has a free version that you can do a lot with. Their AI is an add-on, but it's less than ChatGPT, and it includes all of those altogether.
Very
You'll go down a rabbit hole.
Okay.
It's I will say it's a beautiful platform.
I feel like we're in the rabbit hole.
I know. It's a beautiful platform because it can do anything. Like it works for solopreneurs all the way up to like giant corporations, but it's also overwhelming because it can do whatever you want, however
Sure.
you want. So the setup of it is not the same as like an Asana or a Trello or a whatever.
Cool.
Okay, so the one other thing I want to show you before we kind of wrap up is when you're in your ChatGPT, if you click on this down arrow, if you click on Explore GPTs, you'll see here that there's other things. So like I can go in here to Canva and start a chat. And here I can upload, I can either upload graphics or it's brand new. So like I haven't played with it that much, but you could totally play with it and say like, okay, here's this graphic, like, or here's an event poster. I want it to target DIY Dana. Like, is this something that would resonate with them? Like, so you can use this also as like a market research for graphics and things that you created, or help me like design this better, or, you know, create a better flow or font or color. So there's all sorts of different things here when you click Explore for like writing and research, and so you can just, there's other like image generators and things. So you can play with that also. But the kind of last thing that I just want to leave you with is I would definitely recommend like coming together with a community of whomever once a month, like 3 or 4 people that you know are using ChatGPT, because every time I have a conversation with somebody, I learn a different way or prompt that they're using, a way that they're engaging or using it to solve a problem in their business. So just even getting together for 15 minutes and be like, okay, what cool thing did you learn? And it's evolving all the time. So it's just a great way to stay creative with it because it can't do anything. So that's what I do with a handful of other colleagues that are in my space. And it's been extremely helpful in us kind of creating ways that this can utilize us. It literally took me, and granted, I didn't dive deep or like completely solve all the problems that I was putting in these chats, but doing what I did here probably took me an hour. So.
Wow.
Super powerful.
I think I just need to use it
Use
more,
it.
and I don't realize how many situations I can utilize, and then I just found something out.
Yep.
Cool.
Any other final questions? Are we all gonna go back to our offices and like?
Download it.
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Like you skipped the first step and
Oh, I'm
we're like,
sorry.
wait, how do you
I-
even start?
Yeah, it's just openai.com, and this is what it will look like.
You just gotta get in there.
Yeah, you just
Like,
like, yeah, you play
You
the.
don't even have to download it. It's in the browser.
Oh,
You can
wow.
download the app to your
You just
phone.
need to
That's
sign
And you
in.
just
cool.
literally type it in.
Yeah, and then you just
That's-
click.
That's what I was
Maybe
missing.
I'll-
is
Yeah.
Compose an email to send
How does
to
it
you.
go?
Crazy though,
Yeah.
like it's ironic. Yeah, you can literally be like, I want to thank the speaker, and then it'll be like,
That's
Or
really
write
cool.
an event script.
Yeah,
Yeah. Ooh,
Nice.
yeah.
it's a sound.
Or board meeting agendas. I mean, if you have any questions, I work with nonprofits all day long and we use it. So like